Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sequoia's weekly training. So again, definitely it's a very exciting time today, in this time of year. Guess what? January 2023 is gone. I mean, you blink your eyes and, you know, the first month of the new year is gone already. Now we're stepping into February. So guys, one thing, all I know is that we always talk about the New Year's resolution, right? But my suggestion is that instead of talking about New Year's resolution, let's talk about new month resolution. New Year's resolution, again, it sounds good. It's when you set it up, it was exciting, but again, how many people can actually follow through? So let's set a new month resolution. It's a new month right now. What are you going to do? How many deals that you want to put it in? How much money you want to make? That's the most important thing at the end of the day, okay? So definitely the market is changing. Definitely the market is not the same as before, and the Fed increased the interest rate again today by 25 basis points. So now the prime rate right now it's at 7.75%. A lot of people are hurting. And again, a lot of the 1 to 4 unit investors or home buyers used to be able to get loan from the lender, from the traditional bank, from the agency bank. No longer they can do that deal anymore. So every time when the interest rate increased, what would happen? When the interest rate increased, a lot of the traditional bank, they will tighten up their lending guideline. It's because now it's become more and more risky. So what happened is that a lot of the traditional lender, their door is closing. So what does it mean? It means that it's our perfect time to partner up with real estate agents. Let them know, hey, if you have investor out there purchasing investment properties, you cannot get a traditional loan, come to us. We use a business loan to fund those properties. Do not check income. One more time, if you're purchasing 1 to 4 units, we do not check income. We do not check tax return, none of those things. All we check is the property itself. All we looked at is DSCR. I'm going to talk about DSCR during the training today. And we even have some lender that don't even care about DSCR. It's called a no DSCR loans. Okay. So regardless, when a client come to us, as long as their credit score is 660 and above, and purchasing a property that makes sense, and they have enough down payment, we can fund that loan no matter what. Okay. So now, the prime rate is 7.75%. I don't know about the bank. Probably the bank, you can still get about 7.25, somewhere around that number. But if you go to a bank to get a loan, guess what? It takes a lot of documentations. There's a lot of underwriting. It's no kidding. Okay. So many clients, after they've gone through all those underwriting or whatsoever, and they still cannot get the loan done. And we run into a lot of clients like this that come to us saying that, hey, I'm with bank so-and-so, and after 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, they still cannot get the deal closed, and my contract is about to expire. Can you close this deal? The answer is that yes, we can definitely close this deal. Okay. So, but however, right now is the perfect timing for us. For if you really want to build a commercial lending business, go out there to partner up with real estate agent. Let them know that I can close deal for you. Talk to loan officers. Let them know that, hey, any deals that you cannot close, I can close for you. Talk to title companies. Those are the guys that close deal all day long, but let them know that, hey, I am a commercial lender. I don't look at tax returns. I don't do any of those traditional underwriting. All I do is I use a business loan. Now, when we're talking about DSCR, you'll be surprised, okay? DSCR basically just telling the lender how much cash flow this particular property can bring in. Now, if you're talking about DSCR 1, that means that the property does not make money, and also the property doesn't lose money. Does it make sense? DSCR means that whatever the income coming in divided by whatever the expenses with that for that property, if that equals to 1, that means that this property does not make any money. So lender is okay. They can still lend it as long as you don't lose money. Now, many lender looking for, used to be many lender looking for DSCR 1.1, 1.2, somewhere around that number. Now, guess what? We have lender right now. They can do DSCR at 0.65.
Wow.
What does it mean? It means that even though the property is losing money, they will still fund you as long as you are an experienced investor, meaning that you're not the first time going out there to purchasing an investment property. They won't do that. But if you already have a portfolio, you have 3 property, 4 property, 5 property, you're an experienced investor. And if you look at a property that you like, and even though the DSCR is 0.65, we have lenders still want to fund you, because you know what? Many lenders know that this is just temporary. Whatever we are going through, it's just not going to be here forever. The property will go up. The rent will go up. The DSCR will go up. They're okay with that. Okay. So again, that is what happened out there. Now, this is the perfect time for you to build your commercial lending business and let them know what we are able to do. Now, besides of the 1 to 4 unit, I want you to start to take away your 1 to 4 unit head. I know a lot of us right here are real estate agents. Some of you are mortgage loan officers, brokers, that you're used to funding single family home 1 to 4 units. I want you to switch ahead to wear ahead as you are a commercial loan broker. When we talk about commercial loan broker, there are so many products that you and I can fund. Diversify your portfolio. Don't just focusing on the single family home, townhouses, condo area. Focusing on expand your business. We can do working capitals, meaning that there's a restaurant out there that they need $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to expand their business or buy inventory. We can do working capitals. We can do equipment loans. There is a construction company out there that needs money to purchase a bulldozer, okay? Or another pizza place that need money to purchase an oven. We can do equipment loans, and that type of loans you can fund in 5 to 10 business days, very, very quickly. We can do fix and flips. Now, with the interest rate goes up, guess what? A lot of the first-time home buyers definitely decreased. But however, the investor now coming out. Now, definitely today is the buyer's market. Okay, when we're talking about fix and flip, regardless market going up or market coming down, there are so many people out there. They are investors. This is their full-time business. They are out there still continue purchasing fix and flips, buy property in a very, very low price, fix it and sell it out. Okay, fix and flip, we do that all day long. We do constructions, we do multi-families, which we are going to talk about. Multi-family right now is one of the hottest asset class out there. Even though because the interest rate goes up, a lot of the first-time home buyer not coming out to purchase property anymore, but they still have to rent. Okay, the rent actually going up. We doing a lot of mixed use. You have the commercial at the bottom, you have the residential on top. We do a lot of warehouses, hardcore commercials, warehouses, retails, office, condos. We run into a lot of clients that they run a business. They used to lease their commercial properties, and now they're out there to purchase commercial property for their businesses. So on and so forth. So again, as a commercial loan broker, you have access to so much more funding opportunities than just the 1 to 4 units. So perfect timing. This is what I call the perfect storm. So today we are going to talk about something very, very interesting. It's called the multi-family. So let me share the screen and we get into the presentation for tonight. So multi-family, we all understand what that is. Okay, so here's the screen. Multi-family fundings. So typo is not mixed use. It's supposed to be multi-family. So sorry about that. It's a typo. Okay. It's not mixed use. It's multifamily. So this is multifamily. So what is a multifamily? 1 to 4 unit is not multifamily. Duplex is not multifamily. Okay. So multifamily, first of all, it has to be one standalone building. Now, I have people come to me saying, hey, Alan, I have like 3 or 4, 5 different properties. I bundle them together. Is that multifamily? No, it's not. That is called portfolio loans. Okay. So a multifamily, it has to be one building. And with this one building, it has to be at least have 5 individual units with kitchens. That is very, very important. That's how the lenders look at that's how the lenders looking at multi-unit or not. It has to be have kitchens. Now, we run into a lot of properties that like a boarding house. One of those old house, we run into one not long ago in Boston. Big, huge house. It has like 20 bedrooms inside of that one single family home, but it only has one kitchen. I don't know how they have 20 bedrooms out there, but that is not called multifamily. That is called boarding house. Okay. So
Right.
remember, it has to be individual units. Each unit has its own kitchens and bathrooms. Okay. And also, when we do multifamilies, it has to be non-owner occupied. Now, what does it mean? You run into a building, 5 unit, 6 unit, 10 unit, whatever that might be. They all have to be rented out, leased. If the owner is living in one of those units, that becomes primary residence. We cannot do that. And most of the lender cannot do that. They don't want to touch something like this. You know why? It's because, let's say for whatever reason, they do not pay the mortgage anymore. The mortgage default, because this is a primary residence. It's very difficult for the lender to come in to foreclose that property. It takes a long time. I'm not saying that they cannot, but it takes a long time for them to foreclose that property. I used to be back in the days, 2008, 2009, if you guys remember, there's a lot of the mortgage meltdown, right? My company do a lot of short sales, foreclosure negotiations. I'm sure that Francine can tell you all kind of stories. She was with Chase for 25 years. She was the loss mitigation officer. So she was actually on the other side of the table, and I'm on this side of the table. So we negotiate with the lender. So you know what? We run into a situation where the client has not been paying mortgages for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They're still living in the property. It takes a long time for the lenders to take the property back. So that's why in commercial lending, most of our lenders do not like there is somebody living in that property, or the owner living in that property as a primary residence. So that is very, very important. Now, are there any exceptions? That might be exceptions, but it's very difficult. Okay, so that is those are the first thing that you and I need when we go out there to talk to our client. Make sure that you understand they're not living in that property. Okay, so now what are some basic requirements? The first thing is that the minimum per door, it's $50,000. So you run into a 10-unit property and you're saying that, wow, I run into a multifamily 10-unit, it's only $300,000. It's so cheap. And guess what? Very difficult to find funding for that because the per door is $30,000. So many lenders do not like that. A lot of the lenders, their minimum guideline is $50,000. And that is why we run into a lot of a multi-family in, let's say, for example, like in Baltimore, in Chicago, in Detroit, in those cities, and 10 units for 200,000, or 20 units for 50,000, something, 500,000, things like this. So not easy. Okay, so remember that's the first one is $50,000 per door. Now, if you're at 748, yeah, I mean we can make an exception for that as long as the property is DSCR and renting out, right? Or let's say if the property is a rundown property, you need a lot of renovation to the property. So let's say you purchase it for something for $30,000, $300,000, but you have to put down $200,000 to fix it up. Yes, that we can deal with. But if you're talking about a stabilized property, very difficult to get funding if the per door is less than $50,000. Okay, so that is the first thing that we need to remember. The second thing that we need to remember also, population. Okay, the city population, very important. Now, how do you check the population? Very easy. You just go to online, go to Google and do a search on, there's so many different websites. You can search on rural properties. Okay, they'll come out with a website and you can punch in the address and the website is going to tell you what is this property in a rural area or not. If the property is in a rural area, most likely it's very hard. So for example, last year we went into a multifamily in West Virginia. It's a 6-unit West Virginia, but in the middle of nowhere. The entire town is only like 12,000 people, something like this. So the minimum requirement for city population is about 30,000 people. You know why? Very obvious, right? So let's say the properties is all empty. If you only have a 12,000 people town, how easy can you rent out that building? Probably take you a long time. Versus if the building is in New York, I mean, you can rent the thing out in no time. So again, that is the logic behind it. So one thing, a lot of people asking us, they're saying that, hey, Alan, how come this lender don't do this? How come this lender don't do that? Remember one thing, always put yourself in the lender's position. If somebody come up to you saying that, hey, John, I'm buying this property, it's worth this much money. I'm asking you to give me $1 million, $2 million to purchase this property. What would you do in order for you to give that person that money to purchase that property if you were the lender? So again, think like a lender. So the lender's perspective is that, hey, when I give you that money, how can I get the money back? Or can I even get the money back? Right? So how can I guarantee myself that money is safe? So population, it's very important, because if you cannot rent out that building or if you cannot rent out that unit, guess what? Now you're facing the mortgage pressure. And if you cannot pay the mortgage, now the mortgage is going to default. Honestly, a lot of people are saying that, hey, my property worth a lot of value. So even though I don't pay for it, the lender can take my property away. Yes, sounds very easy. But honestly, the lender is not in the business of managing real estate. They are in the business of lending out money and making money from their money. So they have no interest whatsoever to take over your property. They want to see you grow. They want to see your business success to become successful. So they want to give you money to purchase good properties. So this is the number 2 thing. Very important. City population, it got to be 30,000. Now, the last thing is DSCR. I mentioned it to you in 1 to 4 unit. I mentioned it to you that some of the DSCR can even as low as 0.65. But that is on single family home investment property, 1 to 4 unit investments. We are talking about multifamily right here. So multifamily, the guideline is a little bit, the DSCR is a little bit higher. So they're looking for somewhere around 1.25. Okay, so 1.25. Again, that number could be up and down, but 1.25, that is pretty much the norm. If the 1.25 can be up higher, then definitely the rate and term will be better. So a lot of people asking me, hey, Alan, I got this property right here. What is the interest rate? I cannot tell you the interest rate until I know what the DSCR is. So now you know why DSCR is very important. And that's why you know our scenario form is very important, because when you submit a loan to us, you need to go to the scenario form. You need to enter all those numbers for us. So for multifamilies, we ask you, number 1, how many units? Okay. Number 2, what is the rent for this particular building? And we ask you for what is the tax, property tax. We ask you what is the insurance. We ask you what is the management fee, etc., etc. So we need all those numbers to calculate what the DSCR would be. And once we know what the DSCR is, then I can tell you what the interest rate would be. Now, again, oftentimes I have many clients asking me saying that, hey, Alan, just give me a range. I don't like that. I don't like to give you a range. You know why? Let's say today I give you a range of, okay, 5% to 7%, for example. Now, to a lot of clients, they only hear the 5%. They do not remember you telling him the 5% to 7%. They don't remember the 7%. Okay. So all they stuck in their mind is 5%. And now when we look at the DSCR, when we look at the portfolio and give you the interest rate of 6.25 and you present it to the client will say, no, you told me that it's 5%. How come now it's 6.25%? So if I tell the interest rate is too low and we cannot deliver, now the client doesn't like you anymore. However, on the other side of the spectrum, if I tell the interest rate is too high, now you scare the client away and they will not come back anymore. So it's no good practice. So as a commercial loan consultant, wear a hat of consultant. You're not a loan officer. You're not a salesperson. You are a consultant. I say it many times. What is a consultant? A consultant is that you help the clients to solve problems. But before you can solve that problem, what do? You listen. You find out what they're trying to do. You find out what the project is. You try to find out what the project looks like. You try to find out what they need. And your job is to collect information. And once you collect all the information, now you analyze it. Of course, you and I, we have a whole team like myself or Francine or Georges or, all these professionals to help you to analyze the deal. And then after that, then you give the rate and term to the clients. So that way, I think your client will see you like a professional instead of a salesperson. What is the difference? A salesperson is that, hey, what is the interest rate? You give them the interest rate immediately. Because if you don't, someone else will. But what is a consultant? Let me know what's all your problem and let me structure a deal that is best for you. In many cases, the lowest interest rate might not be the best deal for you because there are so many points that you need to buy down. There might be other fees that built into the loans that you didn't even know, right? So we are consultants. We are here to educate our clients. Now, what if you don't know how to educate your client? That's fine. That's why we have this platform. So that's why when you submit the client to us, we will educate a client for you. We will talk to the client for you. You don't even need to talk to them. Okay. So that is DSCR. Okay. Let's move forward. Now, what is DSCR? Now, for us in the commercial lending field, if you don't learn anything, you have to understand this one term. You don't need to learn. You don't need to understand what interest rate is. You don't need to learn what LTV is. You don't need to know what the DTI is. You don't need to know none of those things. But however, DSCR, it is the only language that speak in the commercial lending world. Whether you are buying a piece of land or buying a warehouse or buying a retail or purchasing a business, whatever that might be, DSCR is the only thing that any lender, it's one of the major things that the lender will look at. DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. Okay. Now, in the traditional world, if you are a traditional loan officer, you look at something called LTV, loan to value. You look at something called DTI, debt to income ratio. Okay. So in the commercial world, we look at DSCR. Now, what does that stand for? Obviously, I would suggest you, if you want to learn all about DSCR, spend about an hour or so. Just go to Google, YouTube. You can do search on DSCR. You can read all day long. You don't need to come to us. But I just give you a very simple term. DSCR basically tells the lender what is the cash flow of that building, of that property, or of that business. So based on that, then they can come up with, either I do a short term or do a long term, whatever that might be for this particular property. Okay, so DSCR is very important. And I mentioned that DSCR, it's so this is the formula. If you really want to dig into it, become technical. So DSCR is the net operating income divided by the total debt. Income, what is income? Your rent, right? If you're purchasing a multifamily, you are collecting rent every single unit. How much rent are we collecting? from every single unit. You have 10 units, not every 10 unit, it's $1,000 a month, right? It could be 1,000, could be 700, could be 800, depending on the size, right? So we need to know the total income. Now, if you are talking about mixed use, or if you're talking about commercial property, some commercial property have a parking lot. So parking lot might got some income coming in too, right? If you're talking about mixed use, in some mixed use, they have their own public laundry room. So for tenant to wash their clothes, and you might got some money coming in from the laundry also. So again, those are different revenue of income for property to, to come in. So that is the income. Now, what is the debt? The debt is anything that you need to spend on that property. For example, tax, property tax, insurance, okay, management fees, and of course, mortgage. Okay, mortgage it's a expense also. So again, with all these things, now we can calculate what is the loan amount that I can fund you. So for example, let's say a lender saying that I want to look at a property, I want to have a DSCR of 1.25%. So now you know DSCR, it's 1.25%. Okay. You know that this particular building every single month bring in $20,000. So now you know the $20,000. So now all you have to do is what? To calculate what? Calculate the total debt. Am I right? So now what are the debt? As I mentioned to you, insurance, taxes, in a management fee and things like that. So insurance, management fees, taxes, all these things are fixed variables, are fixed numbers. So you know exactly how much you pay on a monthly basis, monthly basis. So what is the last thing that you need to calculate? Mortgage. What is the affordable mortgage? So after, let's say the DSCR is 1.25%, you put in $20,000, and after you do all the calculation, so you calculate that the monthly mortgage would be $5,000 a month, for example. So now you know the mortgage is $5,000 a month, and now you know what the interest rate is, and now you calculate what the loan amount would be. Does it make sense? So that is how we calculate what is the mortgage and interest rate. So again, I think it's too technical. It's okay. You don't need to understand all these things, but I just want to share with you what DSCR is all about.
What's that? Sword?
Knife. Well,
okay, so I just want to share with you what DSCR is all about. And by all means, if you don't want to learn about this, no need to learn about this. But at least when you talk to your client asking you, hey, what is the interest rate? You let them know that I need to know your DSCR. And when they hear, well, DSCR, I don't know that term, it make them feel that you're so sophisticated. Okay, so learn to speak the language, even though you don't know what that means. But I suggest you do some research, do some study on your own to understand what DSCR is. Okay, so let's move forward. So now, and another very common question people ask is, okay, fine, I find you a multifamily. So what kind of document do I need, Alan? Let me show you. Very, very important. First thing first, it's a rent roll. Okay. Yes, in the scenario form, you will tell me that, hey, this building 10 unit right here, the total income is $20,000. Fine. I know it's $20,000. Okay. But I still need to see a rent roll. Now, what is a rent roll? A rent roll, it's a report that shows the property owner that who is renting each unit. It should have the unit 1, John Doe, unit 2, Mary Doe, unit 3, Alan Wu, so on and so forth. Okay, you have the client's name. You also have the unit configuration: 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, studio, whatever that might be. So then the lender have a better understanding what type of property are we dealing with. Okay, so you should have something like this. Now you also have something like, definitely, when the lease start. When did you sign the lease with the client? And when the lease will end. Okay. And also, very importantly, what is the monthly payment for that particular unit? So you have all those information. So now when the lender look at the rent roll, right now is what? February 1st, 2023. And you have 10 units. And 10 units, 7 out of 10 units, the lease expired in December 2022. Now the lender will start to thinking, what happened to those 7 units? Are they on month to month? Did you renew the lease? What happened? Are they all vacant? Right? They need to find out what it is. If all vacant, it's totally different how they structure the deal. I'm going to talk about that later on. So those are the information that's supposed to be on the rent roll. Okay. So it's not just a number, $20,000. Okay. So that is the first thing. Now, also, sometimes they might ask you for something called a T12. T12 stands for trailing 12 months. So today is February 1st. Now, sometimes the lender would ask you for the last 12 months of the income report or the rent report for this particular building. So you will have a T12, something like the name of the tenant and the monthly rent for the tenant, and then you have January, February, March, April, so on and so forth. So every single month, are they paying you rent? Are they late? Are they missing any payment? So those are the details for sometimes the lender would like to ask for to see. Okay. So that's number one thing, the rent roll. And you can actually download the rent roll from our scenario form. So when you click the scenario form, the rent roll is there for you to download to use if they don't have one. Now, the second very important document is the operating statement. Okay, operating statement tells the client, lender how much it costs to operate a building. So in the operating statement, most likely the client will have an operating statement. If they don't, we have the form for them to fill out. We want to see what the property tax is. We want to see what is the property insurance. That is a yearly property tax, yearly property insurance divided by 12. Okay, maintenance. Did they fix the roof? Did they fix the pipe, the plumbing, whatever that might be? Okay, management. Did they hire a management company to come in here to manage the property for them, or any other expenses? So the rent roll tells the income. Operating statements tells the expense. Okay, very simple. Now, as a loan officer, also or as a loan consultant, please make sure when you receive the rent roll and the operating statement from your client, please do yourself a favor. Read through it. Does it make sense to you or not? Okay. If it doesn't make sense to you, most likely it doesn't make sense to the lender. So you look at all those numbers. From those numbers, it can tell you a lot of stories. So let's say you look at a 10 unit in downtown Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area. Okay, so I would think that the rent for 1 bedroom, 1 bath right there is about $2,000 a month. Could be more, could be less. You can tell me, but about $2,000 a month, right? But when you get the rent roll and you look at the each unit is only renting out $700, you know that rent is under market. That property is not a stabilized property, which I'm going to talk about it later on. Right. So again, you learn how to read those numbers. Now, the type of funding. So I talked about non-stabilized property. What does it mean? Well, first of all, what is a non-stabilized property? What are they? Let's say you purchase a foreclosed property. Nobody's living in there, or tenant living in there not paying rent. That is a non-stabilized property. Meaning what? Meaning that this particular property is not generating the income it's supposed to generate. So let's say, again, use the same example, downtown San Francisco, each unit is $2,000 per month, and you have 10 units. In a normal situation, you're supposed to get $20,000 income for that building. But let's say this is a foreclosed property and nobody's paying rent. That property is not generating any income. So it's non-stabilized property. Or this is a new construction. Yeah, there's a lot of new construction out there and they just finished building. It's a brand new property, beautiful property. but nobody's leasing out yet. It's in the process of leasing it. So in that case, it's not a stabilized property. Now, in what situation is this? We have a lot of builders building multifamilies like this. When they build a multifamily, they will have something called a construction loan. Okay. Now, after they finish the building of their property, the construction loan most likely is going to expire. They have to refinance their construction loan to something short term so that they can rent out their property. So now, while the building is still empty, even though it's brand new, no one in their right mind is going to give you a long-term note for a property that is not generating any income, regardless how beautiful it is. So in this case, it's going to be a non-stabilized property, and we can only give you what we call a bridge loan, which I'm going to talk about. Or a building, it's more than 30% vacancy. Okay, so that is very similar to foreclosure property. So that is non-stabilized property. So in this case, can we fund this? Absolutely, we can fund this. We can fund this thing all day long. Okay, we can fund this all day long. And as a matter of fact, I would say 80% of the multifamily out there today are with a bridge loan. Because whatever the reason is, when they purchase this property, either they're not stabilized or they're brand new or whatever the reason might be, they can only get a bridge loans to get into the property. Now, so what is a bridge loan? So the bridge loan is a short-term loan. It's not a long-term, like a bridge, to carry you from one side to the other side, right? So there's a bridge. Now, normally a bridge is between 12 months to 24 months. Very rare they give you 36 months. Very rare. Okay, maximum term it's 24 months, between 12 to 24 months. All right. Now, for a bridge loan like this, they can only fund you between 60 to 75%. 75% is already on the very, very high end. I don't count on 75%. I would say somewhere around 60 to 65% would be ideal. I mean, that is pretty much the norm, 60 to 65%. Okay. And in today's rate, is somewhere around 9%, starting at 9% and up. Now, you might ask why the interest rate is so high. Well, in commercial lending, remember one thing: the interest rate is based on what? Based on risk of that project. The higher the risk, the what? The higher the interest rate. No doubt about this. You cannot get around with this. So when you're talking about an empty building, to the lender, it's a high risk, because I have no idea if you can pay that mortgage to me or not. So it's a high risk. So in many cases, when the lender give you a bridge loan, oftentimes they will put in a condition where they're saying that I'm going to reserve 12 months of interest. They don't give you all the money up front. They reserve 12 months of interest. Okay. So the idea behind it is that, hey, as a lender, I don't need to worry about for the next year, you don't have the ability to pay my mortgage. So I already have that 1 year mortgage reserved first. So you don't have to pay me mortgage for the entire year. Now you go out there, you do whatever you needed to do to stabilize the property, to rent it out. And hopefully by the end of 1 year, you rent out everything and you can go out there to refinance your property and pay me back. So that is the logic behind it. Okay. So they can give you up to, 1 to 2 years, and pretty much all the bridge loan are interest only. They do not take principal back. Again, the reason being is that the interest rate is quite high with this type of loan. With interest only, the monthly payment will be a lot less than an amortization mortgage, so that the client or the owner of the building do not need to pay principal, and they can control the monthly payment to a lower end. So again, it's all about rate of return, right? So this type of loan, you can pay it off anytime you wanted to. No prepayment penalty. And once you stabilize the property, you feel that, hey, I'm making enough income, you can go out there to refinance it. That's the end of it. So bridge loan, guys, right now, as we speak, there are so many bridge loans out there are maturing. Means what? Regardless what the economy looks like, they have to refinance out. They have to refinance out. So in our line of business, go out there to look for this type of clients, look for bridge loans that is about to mature. If you're doing advertisement, say something like this: it's your property's loan going to mature soon? Talk to me. The people understand what you're talking about. Now, I'm not just talking about multifamily. I'm talking about mixed use, retails, warehouses, commercial property, office condos, land, construction, so on and so forth. All these property, most of them are bridge loans. So go out there and look for this type of businesses, and you'll be amazed how busy you will be this year. Okay. So this is non-stabilized. Now, before I go into the next slide, let me also talk about one thing about appraisals. When lender go out there to do appraisals, normally for commercial loans, they will have two appraisal numbers, two values. Number one value, it's as is value. Number two value, stabilized value. So as is value is that, hey, let's say you just have a shell, nobody living in there. That property might worth about $5 million. But if you rent it out, you're collecting full rent, and the property is stabilized, that property might worth about $6 million, $7 million. Does it make sense? So many client or many agents saying that, hey man, my property worth about, I know someone next door is selling for $10 million on that property. How come my property only worth about $6 million? It's because most likely the other buildings already rented out with full rent, and your building's not renting anything, right? So again, that is the reason on commercial property like this. It's totally different than residential. So now we step into stabilized property. So again, with the other side. So one, I talked about non-stabilized, and now it's stabilized. Stabilized means that you are collecting full rent. You have long-term lease, at least 75% and above. So again, with multifamily like this, every lender love it. And let me tell you how they love it. Long-term, they can give you up to 75% LTV, and sometimes they can give you up to 80% if it is a trophy property, okay? Look at the interest rate, guys.
Your voice cut out just a second. Can you repeat that?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Your voice cut out right as you were saying sometimes up to 80%.
Oh, okay. So sometimes the lender will give you up to 80% if that is a trophy property, meaning that, it's in the best area. The DSCR is very good. Again, that is, but again, very rare to go up to, I would say about 75%. It will be about 75%. Okay. So look at the interest rate. Today's rate starting somewhere around 4.75%. That is a Fannie Mae loan. Now, Fannie Mae loan means what? You have to come out with tax returns. You show them the tax return, show them the I'm not talking about personal tax return. I'm talking about the building's tax return. Okay. So you have to show them all those things. Start at 4.75%. And it could be a 5-year term, 7-year term, 10-year term, 30-year term, whatever that might be. Now, this type of loans, they want you to stay with them for a long period of time. So normally they do have a prepayment penalty attached to it. So sometimes it's a 3-year, 5 years, or the term of the year, or the term of the loan, whatever that might be. So with this long-term note like this, lenders love this kind of property, love this kind of assets, and they can fund this thing all day long. Okay, but we have to calculate the DSCR.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? You mentioned the tax returns. Are you saying if you purchase the property from someone, they're providing their tax returns on that building?
Oh, okay, very good question. When I am buying that building, and if I want to go into this particular type of loans, they would like to see, yes, the tax return on that building, not their personal tax return. Now, For multifamilies, they got to hold a multifamily under an LLC. Okay, they need to see the LLC's tax return or profit and loss statement to determine the DSCR. Okay. Now, of course, if you already own the property and you want to do a cash out refinance, obviously you need to provide your LLC's tax return. All right. So now what is the process? Submit a scenario form, go to our scenario form, submit a very simple scenario form, give us the numbers. And then after that, if the number looks good, we present it to the client, present it to the lender come back with a proposal, present it to the client likes it. Okay, then it's just like anything else. It's just like a single family home, right? So again, you order appraisal, order title, doing the underwriting, final commitment, and closing costs. Now, one thing different than a commercial lending than a traditional lending is this. If you selling single family home, most likely if you quote a client 7% interest rate, most likely it's going to be stay at 7% interest rate. It's not going to be changed that much. But in commercial, it's a little bit different. So when we quote at the beginning, it's what we call the letter of intent, LOI, or a term sheet. A term sheet basically means that the lender is going to fund this property based on the information that you provided to us. The rent roll, operating statement, the whole 9 yards. Now, that is not the final number. So now they need to go out there to do title search. They need to verify all the leads. They need to do appraisal report, things like this. So after all those information are in, once they go into the underwriting, then they will come out with a commitment. The commitment, then the interest rate will be locked in. And that is the interest rate that the client is actually getting. Now, if they provide the documentation upfront, it's not much different than what the underwriting, after the underwriting looks like. The interest rate pretty much would be the same. But if there are, differences, if there are, discrepancies, then yes, the interest rate can change. Okay. So for example, they coming saying that, hey, I think that my value of the property worth about $5 million. But then when they do the appraisal, it comes back at 4.5 million. So obviously everything changed, right? So again, or after they do the appraisal, and somehow 2 units moved out and vacant. Now the DSCR changed. Does it make sense? So again, there's a lot of variable when we do commercial lending. But again, that is something that we need to deal with, and we try to control that as much as we can. So that is the roadmap for commercial for multifamily. So again, guys, multifamily today is one of the hottest assets out there. And let me show you today's rate. This is an email from one of our lender, January 31st, yesterday. Look at this. Fannie Mae rate, 5-year, 4.81%. Start at 4.81% to 6.5%. That's a 5-year. 7-year, 4.72%. I didn't make this thing up, guys. This is the real number. All right. So on and so forth. That is the rate that yesterday when the lender gave it to us. And today, let me show you a true example by one of our loan consultant here, Enrique, out in San Diego. He submitted a deal, and look at this. This is what we got today. This is a 29 unit. The quote sent it to us is today at February 1st at 12:13 p.m. this afternoon. It's a 29 unit. Okay. The loan amount is $1.9 million. $1.9 million. And the LTV is 40%. Now, why 40%? And again, because of the DSCR and things like this. And there's so many calculations behind it, but the maximum that we can go on this particular one is 40% because the rent that he's collecting is not strong enough. So, but we still can go up to 40%. Term, 60 months. What is it? 5 years. This is an interest-only program. Look at the interest rate, 6.675%. Still better than the prime rate. What is the prime rate? 7.75% today, right? You're buying an investment property, single family home, you're talking about 8%. But for this 29 unit, 6.675%. The way that they base this number is based on 5-year treasury plus 3.1%. So now this is why on multifamily, the rate is not that affected by whatever the Fed saying that I'm going to increase the rate. So when the Fed increase the interest rate, what kind of rate are they increasing? It's called the prime rate. But what kind of rate multifamily is based on? 5-year treasury. So go take a look at what 5-year treasury is. It's still pretty low. So it's different product. Okay. So now it's a non-recourse loan. Anybody understand what non-recourse means? Non-recourse means that, hey,
no PG.
No, they don't foreclose on your personal property.
They don't foreclose on your personal property. So let's say for whatever reason, this client cannot afford a mortgage anymore. Okay, they're not going to go after him personally. They will just take the building and that's it. Okay. 54 months of yield spread. Yield spread means that you have to keep the loan. So 54 months basically is 5 years. So basically means that they want them to keep the loan for at least 54 months, and the lender charge 1%. And how much do we charge? We charge 1.5. So again, what I'm sharing with you is that multifamily, it's one of the hottest assets out there. There's so many bridge loans out there. Go out there, look for this type of loan, and I can guarantee you that you're making 6-digit, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 this year. It's not that difficult. This is a small loan, and you guess what? Once we presented this term to our client, immediately he called Enrique back. He said, Enrique, I like this loan. I have another building for 7 or for 10 units. Can you give me the same rate? So now Enrique locked in 2 deals today. So I'm going to bring up Enrique right here. He's the loan consultant for this. He's going to share with us how did he find deals like this. Enrique, can you share with us your experience?
Happy to, Alan. Thank you. So I'd like to speak to everybody in the audience who's a realtor, who has a real estate license. A little bit about myself. I'm a residential mortgage loan officer and a residential real estate agent. I'm with eXp Realty. Some of you guys might be with eXp, but I've been with Sequoia for about almost a year, but I was having problems finding investors. Okay. What I did was I attended the North San Diego Real Estate Investors Association meetings, where I found a few what I would call small scale investors, but not the kind of investors I've been looking for. Fortunately, with the eXp platform, which has 85,000 agents worldwide, a commercial realtor reached out to me, and he presented me this opportunity to call on multifamily deals, light industrial deals, land deals, basically commercial deals. So I've been doing that for about 2 or 3 months. And not only do I have more than 2 commercial loans in my pipeline, I also have around 4 commercial real estate deals in my pipeline as well. So the commissions are in the tens of thousands of dollars for these deals. Now, how do you find clients? What I find in the commercial world is what's key is finding clients. I mean, you can call these buildings all day long from information on Google, but you're not going to reach the property owner. It's very, very difficult. So what the commercial realtor I work for provides is he's spending $8,000 to $16,000 a month on software that finds the phone numbers of the actual property owners. And it's amazing how easy these deals actually are when you speak to a commercial investor with properties up to 700 units, for example. Okay. Also, what I'd like to add is in the down market we're facing currently in the residential real estate field, definitely try to get into these commercial deals because Warren Buffett has a saying, okay, when others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy. Okay, so who are the greedy ones right now? It's these large institutional investors such as BlackRock and Blackstone. Okay, some of them are actually our clients. And what they're doing right now is they're buying up everything in sight, okay, as much as possible. All right. Now, we have the leads. We don't have enough realtors to call them these leads. We only have a team of 40 realtors nationwide uncovering these off-market commercial deals and not only being a listing agent, but acting as the buyer's agent as well. So what I recommend to everybody is definitely get into commercial real estate if you have a real estate license. If you'd like to know more about this particular opportunity I'm referring to with eXp Realty, I'm going to put my my phone number and my email address in the chat. So what I'm finding is that when you're working in the commercial real estate space, it is very easy to find commercial loan opportunities. Okay, that's all I got. Last thing I'd like to add is something kind of interesting. You guys might have heard of the reshoring movement in American manufacturing. Okay, everybody's trying to bring microchip manufacturing back to the United States. We're trying to set up clean energy facilities all over the country. So multifamily opportunities near chemical facilities and near factories are very, very hot right now. Okay, so this is why investors want these multifamily properties near industrial facilities. So just a hot tip for everybody. So that's all I got for now. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat in case anybody wants to learn about this opportunity, calling on commercial real estate deals with eXp. Thanks for this opportunity, Alan. Back to you.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. So again, that is the what we try to talk about multifamily. So the key is that businesses out there partner up with real estate agent, and especially partner up with commercial real estate agents, and they need us, they need you, so that they can get that deal fund. And 2 sessions ago, I shared with everyone, how do you find this commercial real estate agent? Go to a website called loopnet.com. loopnet.com, loopnet.com. And when you go in there, you just punch in any zip code and you will see all the commercial listing under that zip code. And along with that, you will see commercial real estate agents information. Give them a call, send them an email, introduce who you are, let them know that, hey, I'm a commercial loan broker. I can do a lot of deals that the bank cannot do. Try me out if you have a deal. I bet you, somebody, somehow, somewhat is going to give you a call. Okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed tonight's training, and let's go out to make some business. If you have any questions, feel free. Let's open up.
Hey, Alan, I have a question. Yeah.
Yes,
so if you did you had a property that was not stabilized, so you did a bridge loan on it, and then you got it stabilized. How long does it have to be stabilized before you can refinance it into a longer term loan?
Very good. 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
So as long as you can show the lender that you are consistently getting 3 months of full rent, then you can refinance it out. Some lender are willing to do 2 months if the LTV is low enough, but normally it's 3 months. Very good questions. Anyone else? It's your chance, ladies and gentlemen, for you to ask questions. Don't be shy.
Alan,
Who's this?
this is Anita Kofer. How are you?
Hey, Anita, how are you?
Great training, great training. I got a question on turnkey properties.
Turnkey property, okay.
So do we have people that can, basically the business is still operating. They've got some good P&L numbers. How would that work in us submitting like the purchase of a turnkey property?
Give me a little bit more in detail. What does turnkey property?
Turnkey is basically the business is operating, you're buying it, and you're going right in and starting your business basically.
So you're talking about you're buying a business.
You're buying the business, you're buying the name. And so the day that you close, you get the keys and you have customers, you have property, you have everything.
That is called business acquisition. You're buying business. Okay. So now there are 2 types of business. Well, many types, but there are 2 categories. One is franchise. One is non-franchise. Okay. So let's talk about franchise. If you're buying a franchise, very easy. And as long as that franchise, it's SBA approved franchise, most likely you can get money for it. You don't even need experience or whatsoever. Why? Because they know if with a franchise, they will have a very good training programs to train you to run their business. So we just funded somebody last year. He came out from Army, no business experience whatsoever. He purchased a Cold Stone. I think Cold Stone is one of those ice cream place. No experience whatsoever. We funded him 90% of the business. So that's franchise. Just the first thing. Now, the next type of business is non-franchise. So you could be a spa, could be a flower shop, whatever that might be, right? So now this type of property, this type of business, you as the buyer need to show that you have experience to run such business. It's very important. So the first thing that they need to look at is your resume. What have you done? So let's say you have been in the flower shop business for a long time. You work for somebody for a long time, and now you want to purchase your own flower shop. No problem. Okay. Yes, you can show your experience. Now, how do they know that you have experience? They do need to ask you to provide your tax return, because on tax return, it shows you who you work for. Okay. Now, if you don't have experience, then you have to have a partner that comes into the loan together with you to get a loan. In many cases, what we've seen is that the seller is willing to stay with the company after he sold. He will stay in the company as a key employee to help the new buyers to improve, to run the business for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever that might be. Yes, that is okay. That counts. Okay. So experience is very, very important. So if you can show experience, and if you can show that you have the ability to purchase that that business, we can fund up to 90% of that business. Now, of course, we also need to see that business's 3 years of tax return, profit and loss statement, balance sheet, things like this. Okay, to let's say you are buying a business for $2 million. Now, how can we value it? How do I know that the business is worth $2 million? So we have to look at their tax return and things like this. So with this type of loans, they will also, you can also request for working capital. So let's say you buy a business, but you need $100,000 for renovate the building. Need $100,000 to purchase inventory. Yes, we can also do that. So experience is very important for this type of business, and also the financial plays a huge part.
Perfect. That was a perfect answer. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else?
Me. So part
Who's
of
me?
Sean.
Oh, sorry.
I actually have two questions. One is about the topic you just left from. So you're saying you can still do the up to 90% if the person stays in the business to help you. That still applies for that, right?
Yes. Either you yourself can show the experience, or you have a partner that can show your experience. We can fund up to 90%. That is correct.
Okay, cool. And then my next question was, do you guys offer like blanket loans?
Yes, we do that all day long. There's called portfolio loans. Absolutely. We just done a portfolio of 32. We are actually doing a portfolio of 32 properties together right now. Yes, we do. We do that all day long. And the good thing about that is that, let's say investors, right? If they use their own name to go out there to purchase property under their name, and now all of a sudden under their credit report, it gets so many loans. And if you're a traditional mortgage loan officer, now when you pull their credit, you see the DTI is so high, right? So that's why you get to a point where they cannot purchase property anymore using a traditional loan. So what you can do if you bundle them all together, let's say you have 5, 10, 15, 20 property, put them together and put them under an LLC. Now the loan is under an LLC, not under that person anymore. So not just this type of loan, guys, all business loans would not show up on your personal credit report. Okay. So yes, then in that case, now you free yourself up from all these DTIs and things like this. You put everything into a LLC, into a portfolio loan. Now you can go out there to purchase property again using agency fundings. Yes,
Okay.
we do that
And
all day long.
The second part of that question is, we spoke about DSCR earlier. And so the second part of that question is, if you were getting the property from somebody and it was significantly under the actual value of their property, are they still wanting you to put skin in the game? Or as long as, okay,
Yes, there's no free gaming commercial. You can, well, from a investor's point of view, it makes perfect sense, right? So the property worth $1 million and I buy it for $300,000 and I got $700,000 equity. I don't need to come up with any money, right? So logically, yes, that makes sense. But from the lender's perspective, no, it doesn't make sense to them. They want you to have skin in the game. They will only fund either the purchase price or the appraisal price, whichever is lower. They want you to have skin in the game. Now, however, if you really want to utilize the equity of the property and you don't want to come up with any money, there's a way to do it. The way to do it is this. First of all, that property got to be under an LLC. Okay, cannot be under a personal name. It got to be under an LLC. So let's say in this case, the LLC is by John Doe. And now Mary Doe wants to purchase this property, right? So now instead of purchasing this property, now Mary Doe is buying share of this company. Does it make sense? So now John Doe is going to add Mary Doe's name onto that LLC. Follow me so far? Please say yes or no.
yes,
You follow me so far, right? So now once Mary Doe into that LLC, into the operating agreement of that LLC, now Mary Doe is part of the owner of that LLC, which holds the property. Okay, so now when we go out there to, instead of a purchase, now we go out there to do a refinance. So let's say the value is $1 million. Now we do a refinance up to 60%, 75%, whatever that might be. Now we can buy out John Doe. And once we do the refinance, John Doe's out of the LLC, out of the title. Now Mary Doe is still inside. Now Mary Doe become the new owner of that LLC. Now from the title purpose, did the title transfer?
no,
No, it did not. So what is it? It's not a purchase. So what is it? It's a
it's
cash
a
out.
refund.
So
Cash
when you
out.
do a cash out, then you can use the value of the property. But again, the bottom line is that that two parties need to agree with each other to do something like this. Does it make sense? Did I lose
I
anyone?
have a question. This is Jamila.
Hey, Jamila.
Hey, Alan. So is the bridge loan able to be used for rehab as well?
Rehab is not a bridge loan. Rehab is a mini construction loan called fix and hold, fix and flip loans. So yes,
if we
in the
wanted to do
term,
a
it's like a bridge
multifamily,
loan. Yeah,
so so I guess my question is, if there's a multifamily that needs, value add, that we're doing value add on, that has different CapEx and things like that we need to do on it. How do you cover those in a
Okay.
loan?
So that is very similar to a fix and flip loans. So in that type of loan, it's not a bridge loan. They underwrite it totally differently. So in that, what do you guys really want to keep going on like this? We already 10 minutes past 9. I mean, if you want, I can talk all day long, but I just don't want to keep you up. But anyway, let me answer your questions. So for this type of loans, you have two numbers. The first one is the purchase price. The second one is the renovation cost, right? So now when lender fund this type of loans, the number one thing they will look at is your experience. Have you done any renovation to such similar projects? Experience is very, very important. Okay, so let's say you do have experience. Okay, fine. So in that case, based on your experience, they can fund up to 90% of the purchase money. And they will give you 100% of the renovation money. Okay, now after they give you this number, the total loan amount cannot be more than 75% of the ARV value. Does it make sense? Did I lose you?
No, I got it. I'm following.
Right. So again, yes, we can definitely do that. There's no problem whatsoever.
And that's on multifamily. You can do that on the multifamily.
Multifamily, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
Value added, absolutely. And now they need to see your construction budget. Okay, that is very important also, construction budget. So the way that they underwrite the loan, it's construction budget, experience, and appraisal.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? You still want to hang around? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no more question, I really enjoy having you guys tonight,
Thank you.
and
Great
hopefully,
meeting.
you come back next week. And next week, I think we're going to be talking about fixing credit, business credit. Okay, so we have one of our partner to come to talk to us about fixing credit. I'm not. He hasn't confirmed yet. If he's not here, then we're going to talk about mixed use. There's another very interesting property that we should get involved. But anyhow, go out there, get some loan, get some closing, get some money. Thank you, everyone. This will be recorded and will be posted to our Facebook.
Thank you, Alan.
Bye-bye.